We do this after the national anthem, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so we don't need these on. Yeah, so we can take this off. I'm going to take it off.
On the American Sports Network, it is time for Conference USA basketball as Old Dominion heads on the road to UTSA. Hi, college basketball fans. I'm Mark Adams, and welcome to the American Sports Network and Conference USA basketball. The headline for this game is Sacrificing Scoring to Win versus Family Talent. For Old Dominion, it's about Aaron Baycoat, Basketball's a funny game. Sometimes players are improving even as their scoring average drops. As a sophomore, Aaron Baycoat averaged just over 15 points a game for a very average 500 Old Dominion team. This season, he only averages 11 points per game. But his offensive efficiency numbers have gotten better and better, especially at the free throw line, where Baycoat is shooting 85% versus 70% last season. It's the little things that win games. Just ask the Monarchs. For UTSA, Kai Bjorn Sherman. Sherman is 7 feet tall and has brothers named Shell and Karsten. Shell plays hockey at Eastern Washington, while Karsten plays baseball at Edmonds Community College. This is an ever-improving big man as he's gotten tougher just like his hockey-playing brother. He's got a big old strike zone, but you know what? He's pretty good at knocking down shots, throwing the ball in the hoop at 60% and 80% from the free throw line. He's also upped his scoring average at 7 points per game. Kai Bjorn's future looks very bright. So let's get ready for ODU at UTSA. Sacrificing scoring to win versus family talent. Aaron Baycoat versus Kai Bjorn Sherman right now on the American Sports Network.
What brought me to ODU was the fact that ODU is a research university. You get to work with a wide range of individuals, and that's something that I really relish about Old Dominion University. You have all these different activities on campus. You have many different opportunities to develop social bonds and to have different experiences. It's amazing to create something new and beneficial and revolutionary. That's Idea Fusion at Old Dominion University.
From the Convocation Center on the campus of UTSA, it's Conference USA basketball as the UTSA Roadrunners host the Monarchs from Old Dominion. And welcome courtside with former Rice coach Ben Braun. I'm Brett Dolan. Great to have you with us here tonight. It's a fun portion of the conference schedule. We have two teams playing really good basketball as of late, Ben. That only adds to the intrigue of this matchup here tonight.
Well, Brett, I'm excited about this game because I think these are the two most improved teams in Conference USA from a year ago. And really, ODU is trying to maintain their at-large status. They've got to win to keep that alive. And UTSA would love nothing better than to climb into the top four and get that first-round conference tournament bye.
Well, let's take a look at the Conference USA standings. You see La Tech, Western Kentucky, and UAB at the top. Then it gets clouded a bit with UTEP, Old Dominion, UTSA, and Middle Tennessee. So it's going to be a fun race going down the stretch. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup, starting first with the Monarchs. Aaron Baycoat, Jordan Baker, Trey Freeman, he's the leading scorer at 16 points a game. Then it's Richard Ross and Jonathan Arledge rounding out the starting five. For UTSA, Christian Wilson gets the start tonight rather than Gino Littles. We'll talk more about that in a moment. It's Keon Lewis, Ryan Bowie, Jeremy Hill, and Kai Bjorn Sherman, the three seniors playing outstanding basketball in conference play. And Ben, what's a matchup you're going to watch for tonight?
Keep your eyes on Jonathan Arledge, Brett, because you know, Coach Jones, Jeff Jones calls him his best defensive player, maybe the best he's ever coached. He's got to do an excellent job right now in challenging Kai Sherman, who's just been hot as anybody in the league. You've got to keep his numbers down, and to do that, he's going to challenge his senior, Jonathan Arledge, to go out there and play as hard as he can to go after him and cut his numbers down.
For Old Dominion, their head coach, Jeff Jones, his second year at ODU, of course, a longtime Virginia coach and American. 18 wins last year, already has equaled that this season. And Brooks Thompson, the head coach at UTSA, he's going for the Popovich look with that beard. If they keep winning, he's going to have a winter beard coat.
I called that in his last game here I had. I said there's no way he's shaving, and I was right. He's going to keep that thing on as long as he can continue his streak.
Our officials tonight, Zelton Sneed, Darren George, and Ron Groover. We're underway, and the Monarchs in their road blue uniforms control first.
Well, they're starting out man, but don't be surprised, Brett, if they go to a zone very quickly against this very efficient ODU team, something that Coach Brooks Thompson talked about in the shoot-around.
Aaron Bako controls. There's Arledge. He'll step out from time to time, and he drains a three to start the score.
Well, that's part of their strategy, Brett. They're going to try to get Kai Sherman out on the floor and drive him or shoot the three. And right then, they shot the three and really relied on Sherman not getting out to challenge that shot. It's going to be a tough matchup for Sherman.
No Gino Littles tonight, a point guard who suffered a concussion back on Saturday. They're going to miss him.
Big loss. We'll talk about that later, but that's been a big plus for this UTSA team. What a feed.
Sherman.
What a great feed by Jeremy Hill. That big guy has abilities to get to the rim and make that dish off. And who else but Kai Sherman? Fitting that he gets the first 2 points of the game.
Well, the seniors have been playing so well for the Roadrunners over the last few weeks as they've jumped their conference record up to 6-5.
Playing very well right now for Brooks Thompson. They're going to have their hands full with this ODU team who's also playing very good basketball. Best overall record in Conference USA.
Arledge stepped out, started the scoring with the three. Little step back, and he left it short, but his back tap to Baker.
Well, I think UTSA won't mind that inside matchup. It's the outside right there. You can see the difficulty Sherman has trying to get in and defend on that drive, and as needed, or as we predicted, that would be a tough matchup. He gets driven and helps a little bit late getting there.
So 5 quick points for Arledge.
Keep your eyes on that. They're going to continue to go there as long as they get dividends.
This ODU defense, they give up just 57 points a game. That's in the top 15 in the nation. We'll see if they can control this hot UTSA team for Coach Jones, and there's a quick whistle.
That's been a big improvement, Brett, for Old Dominion. They've now taken that defense to another level, and be able to say you're number 1 in the league in points allowed. That's big, huge for Jeff Jones's team.
What is it about their defense that has been so good this year?
Well, first of all, they don't give the ball up very often, so you got to climb to get it back. They're going to limit possessions for you, and that's what good defensive teams do. It's not just about stopping you; it's limiting your possessions. It makes it a lot easier.
Christian Wilson controls. He's getting the start tonight. Hill to Sherman again.
How about Jeremy throwing 2 dimes, and you're going to have to put attention. That's the beauty, Brett, of having a luxury of having 2 inside guys. Pick your poison. And I asked Jeff today, who are you going to put your attention on? They chose Sherman, but they're having difficulties right now matching up with Hill.
So the 3rd leading scorer in the conference in Hill has a couple of nice assists.
Well, that's one way. When you're a scorer, Brett, you've got to make the other team guys better because you're going to be defended.
Freeman with his first shot ends up in the hands of Sherman. Of course, he had 15 rebounds on Saturday, part of a huge game on the road. Lewis to the rim, and he'll get the roll. Well,
that's what that young man does. Now, keep in mind, he's been playing off the ball now that Littles has been playing, but with Littles out with the concussion, a lot's going to be counted on with Keon Lewis handling the ball, but also doing what he does best, taking the ball to the rim.
Good beginning tonight from San Antonio between a couple of teams on some mini winning streaks here in conference play.
Very hungry teams, Brett. Look for this to be a great matchup today in terms of intensity and really focus on what they're trying to accomplish.
Freeman, the hard entry pass to Arledge. He scored 5 points. He scored 7 early points. He averages 8.5 a game.
Well, those guys are really going at each other. It's a great matchup. It's a fun game to watch when 2 guys of that nature can go at each other. But here again, you have Hill driving to the basket and fading away on his left. That really was not what he wanted, but it was give the Monarchs credit and good defense.
Baycoat from the wing, a standing rebound for Keon Lewis.
You know, Jeff Jones doesn't mind their transition. He feels if he can get out in transition and can find some easy baskets, gives his players the freedom. I really like that about Coach and his ability to give his players confidence.
Sherman calling for the ball, can't hit the hook. So the Monarchs, the basketball in a 1-point lead here in the first 4 minutes from the Convocation Center on the campus of UTSA. Jordan Baker steps into a long one, left that one way short, fights for his own rebound, gets it back, and he can't drop it in. A high teardrop.
Roadrunners got a break there on the offensive putback, or chance to reload.
Keon Lewis with his 24th three-pointer.
How about Keon Lewis right now? He's playing the point guard, but he's still finding ways to score, and he does such a good job for this team. But he's their leader, he's their floor leader, he's their senior, and he's a guy you really want to have on your team pushing the ball to the basket. None do it better than he does. He may be in this league. He just pushes the ball. He's strong with his body to make so many things happen. Here's the guy they want, Brett. They want Freeman to get as many touches and looks as they can. They feel he's their go-to guy. So when things break down, they really go to him.
Nice little hook from Aaron Bako. What a game, tied at 9 here in the first 5 minutes.
Well, he's been sick all week, hasn't practiced, Brett, and now he's in the game. Amazing. I always find it amazing when players can summon up enough strength, but, you know, competitors find a way, and he certainly does. So I told Jeff there's no way he's keeping himself out of this game. Forget about that. And I was right, at least about that.
Numbers aren't there. Baker's going to push, a little spin. And the follow is good from Richard Ross.
So that's the danger of contesting drives. You can't put two guys on a drive and give up the backside, and that's exactly what happened. Two guys contested the drive, and there was an easy putback. So you've got to pay attention to that. You've got to have single man-to-man coverage.
Still waiting for that first time out. Ryan Bowie couldn't hit. Rebound to Freeman.
A good pace to this game. Both teams don't mind pushing it up down the floor. Whoa, boy. Throw it down, big fella.
Richard Ross back here in his home state. He's from Wichita Falls, and the dunk gives a 2-point lead, now a 4-point lead.
You think he's not excited, has a few people in the stands? That's always worried about that when you play teams. You know, you can bring people back and they can get to play in their home state. They always play a little bit harder.
Hill can't follow with that hook. So a few shots from short range haven't fallen for the Roadrunner. We're about 4 minutes overdue for a media timeout. And that ball's out of bounds, and we'll step aside.
Hey, I'm tired. I don't know about you. This game's been going back and forth. Great action, Brett. What a great basketball game in the opening series. But look for this matchup to continue to push the pace. Both teams really having a great job, doing a great job. And how about that? Big fella throwing it down with authority.
Have a seat and let me make you uncomfortable. Up those grades, son, or the only position you'll be playing in college is sitting on me. You're still awake? Have a seat on old Mr. Bench. At least your buns will fall asleep.
Is this the one about the high school hotshot who gets benched in college? It's a tearjerker!
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore. So you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Back at UTSA, it's the Monarchs up by 4 for their head coach, Jeff Jones, longtime Virginia Cavalier point guard. This is in the Wayback Machine, but Coach, you go back to his 1979-1980 season, he had 200 assists that year.
That's unbelievable, Brett, when players can do that. What an ultimate team sacrifice. ability. You wonder why their teams were successful. When you have a guy doing that, that adds up to success.
He'd like to distribute the ball in this game. There's some shots being cranked up early.
How about 22 before the first break? I don't believe that. So much for my analysis telling you that it's about ball possession and how their defense is holding people down because of their deliberate offense. 13 shots before the first break. That's getting it done, putting some shots up, and they're knocking some down.
Larry Lewis checked in at the timeout for the Roadrunners. In fact, he controls outside right.
Well, he's an awfully good player, and he really does a good job for the Roadrunners. Coach Thompson electing to bring him off so they get some firepower, and I like that move. You really want to go to the bench and get something, and so you can't put everything out front. You got to keep people coming in and giving your team a lift.
Keenan Palmore also checked in for ODU. Freeman trying to get in the scorebook.
Well, he's feeling left out. He's such a do-it-all guy, but look for him to be a big factor in this game. He's going to make and take big shots for his team.
Bowie on the push, switches hands, and one.
Well, I love the left-hand finish, Brett. I think more players should do that. So many players keep the ball in their strong hand and their dominant hand. Watch him come back and absorb the contact and also finish with the left to avoid getting a shot block. More players need to study that move, the ability to put it in his off hands and take contact on his right shoulder and make the basket. Great individual move by Ryan Bowie.
Chance for a three-point play, and he'll do just that.
But here's the press. They're going to try to set up some full court pressure, see if they can get ODU off their heels a little bit, maybe get a turnover, slow them down just a little bit.
This is a Monarchs team that won 10 straight games earlier this year. In fact, they were ranked entering conference play. First time in program history they were in the top 25.
Well, and their best start in program history since Division I. Now you see, Brett, the zone we were talking about. Brooks Thompson electing to go to the zone, press back to zone, and right away pays dividends. A little bit different attack. Jeff Jones not happy, but the zone's a very good call for UTSA. And boy, how about that turnaround of two quick TV timeouts. The first one went so long. We're back taking a break, but good basketball game, and be interested to see the zone, how long they stay in there.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
College basketball on the American Sports Network is brought to you by CokeCareers.com.
Hey, raise your hand if you're in the building and you've won a national championship as a coach. It's Larry Coker.
He's a fine coach, and I had the pleasure of watching his teams play when I was at Rice against David Bailiff's teams, and his teams can compete, and they were making that transition from Division II. They were a good football team, Brett. He did a great job, and really enjoyed watching those matchups.
This is going to be a sleeping giant, this program, UTSA. They play their home games in the Alamo Dome in downtown San Antonio. Ty Bjorn Sherman right under the hoop through the contact and the foul.
You know, this has been a big change with Brooks Thompson's team, and he said this today in shoot-around. I said, what have you done differently to get that ball inside? He said, hey, it's not like we didn't want the ball inside, but now Kai Sherman's catching and scoring, and he's warranting post-ups. His teammates are looking for him. They're doing more high-low interior looks. You can see it now, the high-low, the pin on the top side. late here on the help and keeps the ball up, does a really good job. And really, one of the things you got to admire about big guys that who can absorb contact, they get to the foul line, and what does he do? He goes for 80+ from the line. That's pretty good when your big guys can shoot with that type of consistency from the free throw line.
One of the best big men as far as free throw shooting percentage in the country. 79%. There it goes. I jinxed him.
Well, that's what we do. That's our job. Here's the press again, Brett. Pulling up your dribble in the backcourt. Like Taylor flashing the ball. You always have to have a guy flash the ball in the press. You can't bury and leave your guys on an island. So many teams really run away when you get pressed. You got to come to the ball, beat every pass.
ODU had that opening three. Their last 10 points have come in the paint, and there's an offensive rebound by Denzel Taylor, who checked in.
Last one so far been a little bit of a challenge now for Brooks Thompson to keep ODU off the offensive glass.
Freeman trying to get in the scorebook. He'll do more than that.
That's a tough shot. Look at this. He maintains his concentration and his focus, gets knocked to the floor, and knocks down the three. Chance for a 4-point play, Brett. Here's a look. Pass the corner. Actually, it's a two. It's a two from the corner, not a three, but going to end up being a three-pointer if he makes these free throws. One thing that Jeff Jones also talked about is getting his free throw percentages up. Freeman's obviously a very good scorer, but he's got to work a little bit harder now and try to maintain the ability like he has, like he's capable of knocking down his free throws.
As Coach said about those free throw percentages that are dropping, it's just temporary. Hope he gets that back on track because he controls the basketball a lot, but he misses there.
That jinx again, the announcer's jinx, but he's got to get there. You know, a lot of that's so mental. When you're a good shooter and you're not making free throws, Brett, that's a matter of just focus, concentration, and really confidence. Your confidence is like anything else. You hit a few, you start making them all.
There's James Ringgold into the game. Right now, no Jeremy Hill. What a move on the drive to the basket by Larry Lewis.
Well, great move. You can see why Brooks Thompson and his staff are so excited about that young man, his ability to come in and give them instant offense. What a great move, great drive to the basket, and a finish. Really gets in the heart of the defense, attacks very well. As does Keon Lewis. They've got two guys and those two players that can really get to the rim.
Fun game almost halfway through our first half, tied at 15 from San Antonio. Freeman, you don't want to give him that open look, he'll drop it.
Well, how about his ability to go up in rhythm? So many players don't have that ability, but Trey Freeman has the ability to go up and knock down those pull-up jump shots. Very good balance, squares up, doesn't drift, and he hits that shot very comfortably.
Sherman's going to step out from long range.
I think ODU will give him that shot as opposed to inside, and Brooks Thompson's shaking his head a little bit. I think he might want to get his big fella back inside.
Another offensive rebound by Taylor, and it leads to a little floater from Palmore.
Very costly right now. That's been the one challenge that UTSA has to solve, is getting ODU off the offensive glass.
You know, something Coach Jones told us before the game, we don't always shoot the ball well. We need to take care of it and then get on the glass, and they've done that.
No question, and that's going to be a big challenge for his team.
Sherman tried to keep that rebound alive, but it ends up in the hands of Mosley.
Watch the ball screen now, Brett. They're going to try to get Sherman out defending against the ball screen, try to get him out on the floor. So look for him to get involved, bring Sherman out, ball screen, and see if they can roll or step back.
Arledge climbed up for the rebound, but it ends up in the hands of Lewis. Keon Lewis on the push, double clutches, and he can't get it up off the rim. And a whistle.
Well, he wanted the call on that. He's such a strong player. I always felt that strong players, Brett, get penalized, and he's one of those players. He's got such strong body that sometimes he draws contact, but he's so strong he doesn't fall down. He absorbs the contact and doesn't get credit. He might have had some contact down there, but when you're strong and you can absorb it, a lot of times you come away empty. But I like his aggressiveness.
See Lewis step out. Christian Wilson, Jeremy Hill back in. Denzel Taylor knocked away that inbounds pass.
Well, look for Hill again and Sherman to go high-low. That's really been a good combination to start this game. Look for them to go back to that.
First ever meeting between these two teams in this building. Series tied at a game apiece in their limited opportunities in league play. There's Sherman on the push.
How about that for the big fella going off the bounce? And Jeff Jones doesn't like that. He's calling a timeout, a very good strategic timeout. But, you know, really, if you look at Sherman, he's really got the ability to get to the glass. That's such a luxury when you have a big guy that's not afraid to get to the rim. And he's got two guys in both Hill and Sherman that can get to the basket.
Coach Jones think maybe he pushed off. Let's take another look.
Well, let's see. You know, I don't know. But
I don't think so.
No, and I think he gets to the rim. But he's calling timeout. He's getting after his guys right now defensively. I don't think he likes their defensive mindset. You know, UTSA is one of the top teams in this league offensively. So you've got to go at a team that's really good offensively, and you've got to knock them back somehow. And Jeff Jones will talk to his team about that, say, hey, let's not get in the track meet. That's what UTSA wants you to do, is get there, exchange shots. But you've got to go out and get some stops against this team.
When you keep in mind the Monarchs have given up more than 72 points just one time this year, to me, even in this low-scoring era of college basketball, that's amazing.
No, that's outstanding. That's why they're an large team as today. If you were to pick the teams at large, they're in. And they're 41 RPI. They are 18-4 in the league. They're certainly one of the top teams in the country.
Monarchs with the ball by 2. Both coaches have utilized their benches here in the first 11, 12 minutes. Arledge had 7 early points. That one way off the mark, but another offensive rebound.
Yeah, that's really been an Achilles right now. They've got to solve that because it's giving them extra opportunities at the glass.
Palmore got some friendly fire, but he still hits.
You know, as a coach, I always hated that. It always came back to haunt you. Give up an offensive rebound and look at the putbacks. They stopped them on the first shot. They're probably got a +6 right now, +8, but they've scored on almost every putback.
Bowie off the screen. High arcing shot. He wanted a foul, but he drops it in. He scored 5.
He's another guy that can pull up and hit that pull-up jump shot. Both he and Freeman are really good at getting in the paint, pulling up and hitting their body under control.
Mosley from the baseline. A rebound from Arledge and a putback. He has scored 9 points.
Well, Brooks Thompson is hot. He's livid right now, as he should be. His team has played good basketball, but they've just given up the offensive glass. They cannot do that against this Monarch team. They're too good as it is to give them second chance opportunities.
Still waiting to get Jeremy Hill in the game. You're talking about the third leading scorer in the conference. He has not scored yet.
No, they're doing a good job. Jeff Jones talked about the defensive challenge he gave his best defensive players, and they're doing a great job.
Bowie tried to draw the contact, didn't get the call, but he gets the basket. He's provided 7 points for the Roadrunner.
Well, he wants the foul call, but again, he's strong too. Those strong guys just make it look too easy. They got to fall down a little bit, but I like the ability. I don't like players falling down anyways, because if you miss a shot, you get hurt in transition. But I like his ability to stay on his feet, finish, and absorb contact. Really a great sign for an offensive player.
What a fun game tonight. Conference USA basketball from San Antonio.
Well, I told you I was excited about this one.
Arledge maybe feeling his Wheaties a bit.
Well, and that's what Jeff Jones really worried about, is he wants his players to go back inside. And if they can, we can see that's where their bread and butter right now. Both teams now are finding ways to score inside.
Hey basketball fans, it's time to get your tickets for the 2015 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. UAB in the city of Birmingham, Alabama is proud to serve as this year's host. Get your tickets today and enjoy college basketball at its very best, March 11th through March 14th. For more championship information, go to conferenceusa.com.
Old Dominion up by 2 here at UTSA. One of the players we featured early was Jonathan Arledge, the graduate out of George Mason. He's lived up to our billing, Ben.
Well, he has, and he's given Jeff Jones the ability to go inside and out. He's really agile, and part of their game plan is to go at their big guys and see if they can find ways to go at Sherman a little bit, and they're doing that. So, you know, Sherman's going to get his points, but they want to go at him defensively. You can see how active he is on the glass. He's been really brilliant on both ends of the floor. The challenge right now for UTSA, Brett, is to keep them off the glass. 8 offensive rebounds.
And Baycoat will bury a 3.
And that's another challenge, keeping their shooters. You know, that's an uncontested. That's a danger right now, coming out and playing a little bit of zone and sagging a little bit. You got to get out there and challenge their shooters. Hill's been very quiet, but give ODU credit. Defensively, they've done a very good job on him.
It'll stay Roadrunners basketball, 16 to shoot.
You know, I'm okay with guys not scoring. Jeremy Hill's not scoring, but he's assisting. He's doing other things. And I think that's fine. But I know they want to get his hands on the ball because too many good things happen when he catches. Here's a stagger screen, pull up, knock it down. Well, it's no sooner than I talk about his assist that he comes in there. But I like that they're calling his number. A good player has to have his number called. You got to continue to go to a guy that hasn't scored. And he brings up a big shot at a very opportune time for his team.
6'8" senior who's hit 44 3-pointers this year. That looked good from the minute it left his hands right in front of us.
Very confident.
Baycoat starting to put up some points. That one wide left. Tough rebound by Bowie.
Well, they're going to have their guards go in. That's a really good sign that their guards are rebounding. I'm sure Brooks Thompson said, hey, I don't care who gets the rebound. Go in there and get it.
Good move from Sherman. Another up fake, and then he couldn't hit from point-blank range.
Well, I thought he did a good job, maintained his composure, but didn't finish.
Freeman's going to challenge the big man. He drew the contact, and he'll head to the strike.
Sherman didn't get back in transition, and that picked up. I think it's on Sherman, but he gets the foul. But here's Sherman getting the ball inside. Just to look at this one more time. Up fakes, gathers, shot fake, and just overshot it. Good composure inside, just didn't finish. And now you've got Trey Freeman at the line, and good to see him knock down that free throw. Again, it's really about confidence and feeling comfortable at the line. Once you knock down a couple of shots, you usually get in your rhythm. I always felt the more you get the line, the better you can shoot.
Young man who sat out last year has been a big boost this season for him. That rebound still alive, and Wilson saves to Bowie. He tried to, and then stepped out of bounds.
Brooks Thompson asking the officials very nicely to watch them in the push out of bounds, but he's also instructing his own players. I like that. In the end, you got to make your players responsible. You can get in the official's ear, but you got to talk to your players about taking care of the basketball. Really, up until that point, 0 turnovers on the game. How about that for a stat? Or at least 1, I think. So they're doing a good job not turning it over. I think that was their first turnover.
Shot clock really hasn't been a factor tonight.
No, sir.
Baker long on that 3. Sherman almost a standing rebound, but it's still loose. Look at the competition for it. Bowie has it, and he was fouled. I think Arledge got the personal while he was seated on the floor.
Well, he got the foul call on that. He got the foul on that, but I always dislike players getting a loose ball and trying to dribble out. Never liked that. Look at the ODU turnovers this year. ODU's only committed 10 a game. That's the fewest. And UTSA, the most, second most, and they get 15. Only 1 turnover to this point. So that's been a real good sign for Brooks Thompson that his team hasn't turned it over.
Team's a bit busy shooting.
Well, you don't turn it over when you shoot it. You're exactly right, Brett.
Hill trying to push the issue to the rim. That has to be goaltending, and that is the 600th career field goal for Jeremy Hill. It didn't even go in the basket, but he gets 600 career
He'll
hoops.
take that any day, but look at the aggressiveness of a guy, 6'8", 250. They can put the ball down, get to the glass, and either draw a foul or, in this case, knock down or get credit for the shot on the goaltend.
We're talking about a guy who was a 2-time All-Southland Conference player who could be an All-CUSA performer this year. He's had quite a career, different conferences and all.
He's good enough, there's no doubt.
And Jonathan Arledge have it tonight.
Well, Kai Sherman got caught on the top side, didn't seal off. You've got to play either behind there or get a full front. He was caught on the top side, and his team did a good job of getting the ball underneath. That's a very good look inside. Great defensive maneuver by Freeman.
So Baycoat had the knock away. Now the Monarchs back with the ball, leading by 3. And a swat away from Jeremy Hill.
Who else?
One of the few times tonight the Roadrunners trying to push it, another turnover back-to-back possession.
As soon as we put those graphics up, they quickly are going to change now. But, you know, 0 turnovers up until this point, then 2 back-to-back or 2 in the last 3 possessions. But in general, they've done a good job of taking care of the basketball. They've got to continue to do that. Here they're bringing out the ball screen again, seeing if they can get Sherman isolated. They're really trying to isolate Sherman. That's their game plan.
Arledge lowers his shoulder, goes with the left hand, and can't hit. And that ball's out of bounds. It will belong to the Monarchs, but after a media timeout. So it's a physical game, an exciting game so far here in San Antonio. A little flavor of the Alamo City.
Well,
Conference USA basketball.
Love this city, good place to be, and why not? You've got entertainment, you've got good weather, and a great basketball game. Enjoying it.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
It's the Monarchs by 3. There's the jersey from Devin Brown, UTSA's all-time leading scorer. I believe he's in the building tonight, and there he is.
There he is. Hey, you know, Brett, I really admire that. Former players coming back to support their team, and the school welcoming them back. I think that's so huge. Middle Tennessee did something last week at their home and had all their players back from the years in championship teams. You know, I think more colleges should do that. I think it really adds a great atmosphere to the game.
1,922 points, so it's really he and Jeremy Hill, 2 guys in excess of 1,500 points and 700 rebounds.
He'd have fit in very well for Brooks Thompson, I can tell you that. He'd have loved playing in here for Brooks.
Mosley from long range.
Well, UTSA switches to the zone and gives up the 3, so we'll see how long they last in that zone, but it's a good call. I like the call, but give ODU credit for coming out and knocking down the shot. And here they're trying to get out in transition, as Jeff Jones said they would try to do.
Mosley's going to dial up another one. Back-to-back possessions. He's hit 43 pointers this season.
How about Freeman on the break, Brett, noticing that he has a teammate who has a hot hand and getting that ball right back into him in rhythm. That's a sign of a really good player, not just your leading scorer looking for his, but making sure he gets his other players involved, and he knew just where to get that ball, and really enjoyed watching that kind of unselfish player.
We've talked about Old Dominion. They were ranked earlier for the first time in program history. You see the RPI, and right now the bracketologists have them in the tournament. A couple of wins over LSU and VCU certainly does not hurt.
No, and for good reason. The start that Jeff Jones has with his teams, he's having games now that are sold out at home. They're really building up their resume. Best record in Conference USA, and with big wins over VCU and LSU. Those are wins that catch your attention. and they've done really well, but now they're playing in a very competitive Conference USA. The league's always not kind. It's unkind to you because the league knows you. They're not creeping up anybody the way they might have early in the year. But give Jeff Jones credit. He's put this team in a position to really be in an at-large team. And if we chose the teams today, they're in. And that's a credit to Jeff Jones and what he's built at Old Dominion.
I don't think fans realize from 2005 to 2012, 8 years, ODU was in 4 NCAA tournaments. A great case to be in there this year and just the second year under Coach Jones.
Blaine Taylor did a great job. I knew him very well, and the program's done well. They've had a lot of success over the years, but Jeff Jones has taken the program now and really done an excellent job in a new conference, and that's important.
Christian Wilson brings rain with that three-point shot. High arcer, but it ends up in the hands of Hill.
Good decision by Hill to reload and now see if they can try to get Keon Lewis attacking the rim, which he does so well.
The Roadrunners missing Littles right now?
Absolutely, because now you're putting different guys in position to be point guards, and that's tough. But they like this young man Wilson and the ability that he has. And how about that? Wow. A putback on the glass by young man Phil Jones, who's really given this team a lift. He's been a guy I've had the pleasure of watching him a number of times this year, and he seems to come in, Brett, and give his team a lift. He's got energy. He has effort. Look at him on the glass. Once, twice, and 3 times. Foul and 1. That's getting it done. That's just being relentless on the glass. And Jeff Jones is figuring out a way how they're going to keep this young man from pounding the glass, giving them some of their own medicine.
Young man from the Bahamas can't complete his three-point play.
Well, free throws have gone by the wayside this game, but I think both teams playing so hard. They may be a little fatigued, even though it's early in the game. They're tired by the time they get to the line.
This game has had a quick pace to it.
Well, it's been up and down, and both teams getting after each other very, very well. They're giving Sherman a break right now and seeing if they can get some defense going right and getting a little bit quicker player on, if they can on Arledge, which I like.
Freeman going to work, using the glass from the baseline.
Well, how about that balance? That shot, I thought, where's he going? He's going out of bounds. He almost fell into the UTSA bench, and he knocks it down off the glass like it was nothing. That's a pro look. That's just a phenomenal look off the glass.
Keon Lewis going to continue. He draws the contact, and that ball spun out.
Well, that time his body, which is, again, is built for that kind of contact. He's absorbing the contact and getting the line, and I think that's a good sign. When Keon Lewis gets the line, usually good things happen for UTSA, and he initiates some of that contact. That's what good players do. They find a way to get into your body, and you've got to find a way to avoid that contact. But Keon Lewis is as good as they come at initiating contact and finding a way to get to the line.
To your point, that's 133 free throw makes this year, top 15 in the country. So he's on pace to maybe be up around 200 free throws made.
No doubt. You love as a coach to have a player like Keon Lewis that can get into the paint. He really puts pressure on the defense, and he can get to the line, stop the clock, help you get your press set up, which they're doing right now. And that puts key players in foul trouble and get your team in the bonus. Who wouldn't want that kind of guy to get to the line? As you mentioned, Brett, maybe 200 times a year.
About an 8-second differential between game clock and shot clock, so the Roadrunners should get it back.
Well, I think they'll take it down as far as they can. Jeff Jones is calling out instructions to his team. They're not going to quick shoot it here. They're going to see if they can take it down as far as they can and leave UTSA with very little time coming back before we close out the half.
Shot clock inside 10 for maybe the first time tonight.
Yeah, I don't remember many times. But here's the end of the shot clock. Who else but Freeman? Good look.
Should be Roadrunners ball, and it is.
It is. Cut a break. Now you've got 9 seconds coming back the other way. And I know Brooks Thompson would love to get this last shot to fall down, but he wants to get it up there in a hurry and get one more look, see if he can narrow this gap going into halftime.
I'd be surprised if the ball ends up leaving the hands of Keon Lewis once he takes it from his teammate Philip Jones.
Well, that's a good call. We'll see if they, if they can get in here and stop the ball. But I have a feeling that the Monarchs are going to have something to say about this. But he's going to keep it in his hands as long as he can. Isolate, no ball screen, to the rim. Well, there's your shot, perimeter.
Hill long on the 3, and Jones can't get the putback, and that's going to take us to the half.
Well, great finish on a great half. give ODU credit for coming back right now and building this lead. But I like Brooks Thompson's team. They've been battling without Dino Littles and doing a great job. Should be a good game. Should be some halftime adjustments coming. But I think it'll be a great look second half. Can't wait.
It's a 7-point lead for ODU. And coming up next, we'll go to the ASN studio where Mick Schaefer will have a college basketball update.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
UTSA coming off a 2-game swing in the Sunshine State back home in Texas, where the sun still shines plenty there too. So do the stars big and bright. Anyway, there's your halftime score in San Antonio. Meanwhile, Old Dominion doing its own little Lone Star two-step. They'll play at UTEP on Valentine's Day. Greetings and welcome into halftime here on the American Sports Network. I'm Mick Schaefer, positioning for the Conference USA tournament going on this month. Unlike other leagues, Conference USA will be taking almost everyone to Birmingham in March. Like the Ivy League, who takes nobody to a postseason tournament. Their regular season is their tournament. Only conference in America without one. That leads us to Friday's game from the Ivy League. Brown at Princeton tomorrow on ASN at 8. Our Valentine's Day gift to you is the love of 3 more basketball games. Western Kentucky, they're looking for an at-large bid regardless. Don't need no stinking tournament. On the road to Marshall. Remember, this is the Hilltoppers' first year in Conference USA. Love is also in the air at 8 o'clock for the Blue Raiders in the mean green. Blue and green make red, I believe, for Valentine's Day, right? Okay, probably not. Anyway, both these teams right smack dab in the middle of the conference standings. This one tips at 8 o'clock. And then from the Colonial, Northeastern travels to UNC Wilmington in the uber-competitive CAA. Seahawks got the win the first time around, but this is the second time around for these two contenders. We've got more than a contender. We've got the undisputed champ up next, Mark Adams, on the world of college basketball.
Get your ass suit. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move.
Give it to him hard. No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stab me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, And giving up? Impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought, and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Hi, I'm Mark Adams, the primary national college basketball analyst on the American Sports Network. We know that March Madness is just around the corner. Here, it's Mark's Madness. Let's start with the Atlantic 10. The automatic bid right now would go to VCU, although Rhode Island is right there as well. When you see the number to my left, that number 9 means that's the power ranking from our ASN network computers and KPI Sports. At large, Dayton with wins over Texas A&M, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and Mississippi. Right now, I think they're in. On the bubble, George Washington, as they had wins over DePaul, Colorado, and Wichita State. Also on the bubble right now, Rhode Island. But again, Rhode Island challenging along with those other teams for the Atlantic 10 championship. UMass also, we're moving up the ladder right now. In the Big South, the automatic bid, as we project it right now, is UNC Asheville. But frankly, it's a mosh pit right now in the Big South. A week ago, there were 7 teams that were 8-4 in the Big South. So who knows? Flip a coin, flip 7 coins. I don't know who's going to win that league. For the Colonial Athletic Association, the automatic right now would go to William & Mary. They sit atop. Northeastern and UNC Wilmington will also be factors for that automatic bid. Conference USA, the automatic bid right now, as we projected, La Tech. They have a number 97 power ranking. At large, Old Dominion has played very well in non-conference play. They sit at a 39 power ranking. They're in good shape with wins over LSU and VCU. At large as well, keep your eye on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. They knocked off Mississippi earlier this year. UAB and UTEP are both in position to challenge for the automatic bid because remember, all these conferences have tournaments to decide who will go to the NCAA tournament. These are just projections. In the Horizon League, we project Cleveland State as the automatic bid, but Green Bay is right there. Keep an eye on Green Bay. Also, Valpo is also very, very dangerous. These 3, plus Oakland, is also very dangerous in the Horizon League. Keep an eye on those teams. In the Ivy League, the automatic bid right now will go to Harvard, but Yale is also in that hunt. In the OVC, the automatic bid we project to be Murray State, and for good reason. They're running away with the OVC with a quality win over Western Kentucky in non-conference play. In the Patriot League, the automatic right now would be Colgate. Bucknell, Lehigh, Lafayette, all are going to be factors in the Patriot race, another mosh pit type situation. In the Southern Conference, Wofford has terrorized the Southern Conference. They knocked off North Carolina State. The Terriers look very, very tough under Mike Young. And in the WAC, New Mexico State is on a roll. They're healthy. They're winning multiple games in a row. This is the team to beat in the WAC. Those are our projections for Mark's Madness. Those are the teams that we think will earn the automatic bid through their conference tournaments, as well as those who are on the bubble, and we think will get at-large bids. We hope you enjoy this list. Keep watching the American Sports Network as we continue to monitor Mark's Madness.
This is not about baseball. It's dedication. It's commitment. It's about developing a mindset in our youth. A mindset that transforms into true character. Disadvantaged, distressed, fields envisioned as new opportunities. Instructors teaching life. Lessons learned. This is not about baseball.
Old Dominion here in San Antonio leading the Roadrunners 37-30, and the beautiful Riverwalk here in San Antonio. If you haven't been, you need to be, but not right now because we have a good game going on inside the Convocation Center. Brett Dolan and Ben Braun. A first half, Ben, that had just 3 total turnovers, more than 60 shots, but it's the rebounding numbers that jumped out at you.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Great pace in the game. The problem for UTSA is that the Monarchs have gotten 10 offensive rebounds, and they've made most of those count. So that really Old Dominion is going to have to be held off that glass, off that pace second half. And I'm sure that Brooks Thompson is talking about that in his halftime speech.
Let's take a look at our halftime highlights here in Conference USA action. Early on, ODU got some points from all over the floor from Arledge.
Well, he's been good doing it inside and out, Brett. He's really been a factor for his team. He's going at UTSA. He's scoring on the block over his shoulder. He's stepping out on the perimeter, knocking down three-point shots, but he's also grabbing offensive rebounds. Very hard to defend inside the paint there, and he's been a real thorn in the Roadrunners side. But look at the job that Kai Sherman's done via Jeremy Hill. A couple of assists by Hill. Great looks, but Sherman's been around the basket. He's been able to score, and that's been a plus for his team. But I really like Sherman's ability to get to the basket. You know, for a big guy to really attack the glass and has great hands. That's what you want in a big guy that has great hands, and he's able to do a job to help his team.
Beautiful San Antonio. We'll come back after this with the Monarchs up by 7 over the Roadrunners.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
The Monarchs from Old Dominion on the road, up by 7 over UTSA. Let's take a look at our halftime stats. You see relatively even shooting percentages, but there's those rebounding numbers, and 10 of the 22 for the Monarchs have come on the offensive glass.
Now, it's really something they're going to have to correct here, because that's a big stat and a big discrepancy. 10 offensive rebounds at halftime. I used to get upset with my team if they gave up 10 for the game, Brett, not let alone 10 and a half. So you can count on Brooks Thompson having spoken with his team about that and addressing that. Again, it's one thing to address it, and it's another to get the job done.
It's a UTSA team coming off back-to-back wins on the road, sweeping the Florida schools for Brooks Thompson, and he's really seen the momentum picked up.
Absolutely.
And in fact, Ben, he talked to his kids today about their position in the standings and what these games mean.
Not afraid to talk about it. I like that about Brooks. He's up front with his kids and said, look, we got to, you guys have worked for this. Now we got to maintain, and here's where we are in the standings. We got to keep playing well if we want to keep climbing the standings. It's something they really desperately want to do.
Jeremy Hill got his man in the air, leans in, goes glass, and starts the scoring in the second half.
Well, most times you stay on the floor when big guys give you a pump fake. When he gives you a pump fake, you're going to have to honor that a little bit, because he can really shoot the basketball. So both teams leaving their feet a little bit right now, going to have to maintain both feet on the floor and not give up that angle to the basket.
Coming off the screen is Baycoats. There's Sherman with a rebound, and he was hooked by Arledge, who picks up the foul.
That's a good call. I thought that was definitely a good call by officials. I was kidding Darren George, who's coming by our table right now earlier, about how easy this game's been for him. And he says, come on, Coach, you know none of these games are easy for us. I said, well, it sure looks like it from here.
How big is that foul, though? The third on Arledge forces him to sit out.
That is big. He's going to the bench immediately, and that's been a big factor. That was a big part of their game plan, not just offensively, Brett, but defensively. He was the guy assigned to Sherman, so it's going to be interesting to see if UTSA can capitalize.
See if Sherman can get going. There's a three well off the mark from the baseline from Bowie.
A little quick right there. I think I'd try to see if I can make some other things go, but good look.
Couple of kickouts. Baker left alone from the corner, and he'll rein in the triple.
Very good distribution and unselfishness from that play. I think each player had a chance to score, but they found the open guy, and that's what the basketball is, Brett, is finding open people on the floor. You find the best shot for your team.
Sherman wants the ball. There's the reigning conference player of the week trying to feed Hill, and a whistle going against Denzel Taylor.
Well, he didn't try to feed him. He fed him, and he got the ball inside. But let's look at this last possession again. We were talking about ODU and their ability to move the basketball if we can get this, and that's really important. Good ball distribution, wide open shots. College players know what to do with a wide open shot, I can assure you that.
Here's one who likes to get it up, but that was a block. Taylor got a hand on it.
Yeah, it was a little bit quick and not uncharacteristic of Jeremy Hill. I think maybe he thought the shot clock was coming down. I don't know, but I haven't seen Jeremy do that all year. ODU's trying to probe right now. They're trying to go inside, but make some things happen. They're going to take a little more time off the clock than maybe they did in the first half with the lead.
Largest lead of the game for the Monarchs, up to 10 points on the hit from Freeman.
Well, how valuable is it to have a player like Freeman at the other end that can just knock down those types of shots, those rhythm shots? You really have to pay attention to him because he's able to get his own shot. So many players struggle doing that. He gets his own and goes up with ease.
Really an important few minutes here for the Roadrunners.
Well, see if they can take advantage. They were going inside, and I think that's their best bet. I look at stats like free throws, Brett. I don't like the fact that both teams, in fact, have only gone the line a handful of times. You're going to have to get to the line, and as we just found out, get guys in foul trouble, start accumulating some easy baskets, but you can't just depend on your shot to fall from the perimeter. You've got to make teams pay, and the easiest way to do that is to start carving out some space inside and seeing if you can get your players to get free throws. Easiest way to score. Get to the line and start tacking up some easy points. There you go, inside look.
Wilson with a good catch in traffic, up over the taller defender, but he can't hit. And UTSA lucky to get the ball back.
Well, I like the approach. They didn't come away with the basket, but I like their approach of going inside. It's the right call.
Ball back in the hands of Hill, lowers that right shoulder. Larry Coker would be happy with that, but the jump was called. And the arrow in favor of Old Dominion.
Well, I like the aggressiveness by UTSA, but I also like the defense of ODU to get in there and get their hands on the ball. Good tie-up, very good call by the officials, no contact.
Good look on the replay, coming right into your screen.
Amazing from here how many times they get it right. Didn't look that way from over there, Brett, I can promise you that. I never thought they got it right, but they do, they really do. And you go back and look at film on next morning of the game or that night usually, and you say, you know what, officials usually get it right.
Baycoat leans into that triple. Sherman tries to get the rebound, but he was just out-jumped there by Ross.
Well, that's a tap out that you're taught to do on that end.
Wilson, the rebound, in traffic, able to corral.
Well, Chris, they've got to secure defensive rebounds, and their guards are going to have to help them too.
Sherman on the move to the rim, and he can't finish, but he'll go to the strike.
Good look by Lewis, and again, Brett, look at the hands on Kai Sherman. You know, there's nothing he can't catch. Now, he's maybe not an alley-oop type of guy, but you can throw him almost any pass, and he's going to put his hands on the ball, secure it, and find a way to get to the basket. I love having to get big guys in my team that can catch it, secure the ball, maintain contact, and get to the line. And again, we've talked about his going 80%, which is an advantage of big guys going the line. Let's hope I don't drink.
All right, going in against Freeman, though, was 6'2". Did he really need the double dip, or did he just go up and throw that thing down?
Well, I don't know. I think that, you know, good players take their time, and sometimes by going to dunk, big players that aren't great jumpers tend to bring the ball down to their knees. So I never liked guys bringing it down. I had a rule in practice. If they couldn't dunk it from their shoulders up, they had to hold the ball from their shoulders and bring it up sometimes. If you had to wind up and bring it down by your knees, stop dunking the ball. Bring it up strong, get the foul call. And we were very adamant about that sometimes. Other guys had the freedom to go because they could jump pretty well, but I like Sherman's ability. And uncharacteristic turnover from Jeff Jones's team. My goodness, that's only the second turnover, I believe, all game for Jeff Jones, something his team has not done. I think we almost lost a camera guy.
Took out our stat monitor, but everything's okay?
Well, I think it looks okay.
Lewis got up in the air, a kick out for Wilson. The Roadrunners need this one. And the tempo and the flow really starting to favor ODU.
Well, it is. They do such a good job in that department. But you're going to look at UTSA, seeing if they can maintain ways to really keep Freeman from hurting them. He's a guy that really, when they need a basket, they always go. They're switching all handoffs outside right now, then the sprint up ball screen. And they didn't quite get up on Furman. Whoa! They didn't get up on Freeman, and they certainly didn't put a body on Ross. What a great putback. Again, still plaguing UTSA is offensive rebounds.
We've seen the jumping ability from Ross. Keep in mind, back here in Texas, he was a state high jump and triple jumper with a lot of accolades, and we've seen the ups here today. In fact, we'll see it again.
Here it is.
Richard Ross able to go up and throw down. It's a 10-point lead for ODU.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
The Monarchs enjoying their largest lead tonight of 10 points. And there is Gino Littles. Now, he has been the starting point guard. He has gone from scout team to starter for the Roadrunners, but he suffered a concussion then Saturday, and it's been a different looking offensive flow with him not available.
Well, and Brooks Thompson very concerned about that coming into the game, and for good reason. You know, look what they've done with him as a starter. He's a role player, a coach's son. His dad's a very famous coach, good coach, and obviously he's got to be a guy that's helped his team. And with him out right now, the chemistry is a little different. You're asking different guys to handle the ball. Suddenly they haven't had to do this for many games, so that's a big loss for UTSA and Brooks Thompson.
Keon Lewis to the line. Have you had a guy go from scout team to starter?
Well, I've had walk-ons that have gone and assumed starting positions. In fact, even go on to be in the NBA. Don't ask how, but it's happened, and it does happen in this game, Brett. But you know, one of the things you have to do is understand that everybody coming to a college team was all everything. They were basketball player of the year, you know, for their team, for their league. There's no bad players coming in. So once players get an opportunity like he has, he's really fit into this team quite well. And you know, I hate the word walk-on because it implies or somebody that's a non-starter or a bench guy, scout guy. Everybody's capable of playing at the college level. I think it's such a misnomer to really label guys in that regard. And Gino Littles has made every opportunity. He's really loved by his teammates. His teammates love playing with him. We talked to Keon Lewis today. That's all he talked about, how much he enjoyed playing with his teammate.
Boy, when the shot clock winds down, you know who's going to touch it. Trey Freeman.
And this team knows where to get the ball. Jeff Jones says he has a lot of confidence that his team knows how to find Freeman, and they find him. And that's another guy that also knows how to get the ball and get to the rim. And those two players are murder. I hated coaching against these guys because I don't care what you drew up defensively. You just really had to struggle. You had to really dig deep to find ways to keep these two guys from getting the ball to the basket and making plays for their team. They find ways, and Keon Lewis has just done that for his team throughout his whole career, Brett.
You know, Ben, we live in Houston where a guy named James Harden has this ability to get the contact, get to the rim, and Keon Lewis has just a little bit of that knack in him.
Absolutely. I coached against Harden when he was at Arizona State, back when I was at Cal, and we didn't put two guys on him. We put three. We'd run the triangle and two and put two guys on him. We beat him, too, so maybe they need to go back to those kind of defenses. Harden, I don't think, wants to see me in the building because we found ways to stop him, but I don't think anybody's stopped him much since. He, you know, really is. You bring up a good point. Guys that have the ability to get to the basket and knock down the shot, just impossible to guard, really impossible.
Shot needs to go up. Who else? Freeman again. This time he missed it. Another back-tap rebound, but the Roadrunners have it. Lewis going back 1-on-3. It probably would have been better to pull up.
Well, I think he thought he had numbers, but really, as you mentioned, Brett, 3 defenders back in transition.
Baycoat ran into Sherman. Sherman didn't move. Baycoat hit the floor, but he also hit the basket.
Well, I don't know what Jeff Jones is teaching these guys about using the glass, but it's kind of old school, and they're using it. How about Ryan Bowie in transition? And that's what he can do. He gives his team a big lift. They're going to need him to step up right now and find a way. The problem, again, as we mentioned, is having a player to get the ball in his hands. That's important because he has the ability to knock down threes, and as you know, if he can knock down shots, that really helps UTSA's chance to come back in this game. But they've climbed back steady as can be.
An Iowa Western Community College product. There's Mosley.
Yeah, they're going back to the zone, Brett. Good call by UTSA, slowing down a very effective team in transition. And the zone's really making them a little more tentative, I think, on the offensive end.
Sherman up, under, and in. And the big man, the reigning conference player of the week, reaches double figures.
Love the discipline of being able to get the ball down to Kai Sherman. They're not just counting on outside shots, even though Bowie hit his last shot. So here's the 2-3 again. They're going to try to get up there, match up a little bit at the wings, not give up the same looks they've been giving.
Baycoat right down the seam. Net runner's well short. Another offensive rebound for ODU.
Now that's got to be about a dozen on the game at least. Look for ball screens now against the zone, Brett. They're going to try to screen the zone, create some backside overloads, and there it is. They got the look they wanted, did knock it down.
So once down 10, the Roadrunners can make this a 2 or possibly a 1-point game.
Well, I like the poise with which UTSA has played. They were down pretty big, and they were able to get back in this game with poise.
Jeremy Hill with a post-up, just flinging that ball in the direction of the rim, but he'll go to the strike.
They're suddenly becoming Brett, and we've talked about this. I talked at length with Brooks today. They're becoming now a very prominent team, inside-oriented team, which really had not been the case early in the year. They were perimeter-oriented. They were transition-oriented. Now, when they need baskets, they know how to go inside and get their two big guys to the line, and they're causing matchup problems for a very good Old Dominion coached defensive team. A very difficult matchup for Jeff Jones. He's especially now with Arledge, who, as we mentioned, it comes back in the game. They need to get this young man back in the game because defensively, he's just too valuable for Jeff Jones and his squad.
See Jeremy Hill's ranking in the scoring leaders. In fact, he's had 4 straight double-doubles, just 7 though so far tonight.
Well, if he would knock down his free throws more consistently, he'd be the scoring leader. And I know that Brooks Thompson has talked about that with him, but you know, that's something that they really, you know, it's hard to figure why great scorers sometimes don't shoot free throws as well.
But the team fouls, the 7-0 disparity.
Well, don't think that
now
that's
7-1.
Well, don't think that's not been brought up every time the officials cross paths. That's why officials never run that side of the sideline. They tend to run in front of us a lot. They don't want to hear the dialogue over there, and for good reason. They don't want to keep a running scorecard. Now back to the zone. Let's see if Old Dominion goes back to the ball screen action. There's a seam of the zone. They flash the high post. Soft spot in the zone, that high post area.
It's a knock away with a shot clock at 7, so it'll take us to a media timeout. Monarchs can drop a final play, but the Roadrunners have been climbing back in this game. From long range, Ryan Bowie with a hit. And don't forget the big man, Kai Bjorn Sherman. It's a 3-point game. Roadrunners as close as they have been in quite some time, down just 3. Earlier, we showed you Jeff Jones going back to his college career at Virginia. Here's Brooks Thompson at Oklahoma State. Of course, a first-round pick of the NBA then by the Orlando Magic.
Quite a player, and you know, Brooks really had the ability to do some things. This is beardless, looks so much younger, but what a great player he was. And you know, you really admire guys that have played the game and now can, you know, impart what they've learned through the years as a player to their players. And a lot of times great players don't do that. It's been said that sometimes the best coaches aren't always the best players, but it's great to see a guy that had success, and not only Brooks Thompson, but Jeff Jones go on and become great coaches. And I always like to see that because they have so much to offer, and I really am impressed with what he's done. He's taken this team now to his 3rd league. They've improved every year, so Brooks done a great job with this UTSA program.
He wants to come back and win this game, but should they lose, that beard's going to be gone by about 10:30.
Absolutely. He told us that today. Shoot around coaches. You don't think coaches are superstitious, do you, Brett?
Hill goes with the hook, and he had another one swatted away.
Well, it's the right idea. Go inside, but now you see Freeman getting loose.
And there's the whistle. going against the Monarchs.
Well, I like the idea of going back inside to Jeremy Hill and trying to make some things happen. And again, getting the bonus, get some guys in foul trouble. Very effective. And even if he comes away with a shot block, you know, you have to take the ball at shot block. Because sometimes you say, hey, avoid going in there. Then you end up shooting free throws. I mean, you end up shooting perimeter shots. But you've got to try to get sometimes shot blockers and inside presence guys, you know, out of position, get them up in the air and see if you can get those guys out of the game. And you're not going to get them out of the game by simply shooting perimeter shots.
Philip Jones headed ahead of the stripe, trying to figure out who was fouled. So Jones wins the raffle. He scored 1 field goal so far this evening. 7 of 14, 7 of 15 from the line this season.
Well, don't look now, but Philip Jones has a chance to bring his team within 1. That's a big climb back and a great surge by UTSA. Knocks down the shot, he gets into the press and back to the zone. It's been very effective for Brooks Thompson.
We've got ourselves still a 2-point game.
Well, they're still going to stay in this press right now. You see them even on a miss. That's the beauty of a free throw. You can press back to zone even on misses. And you see Old Dominion a little more tentative against the pressure. I don't think they'll turn it over, Brett, but they're going to knock away 10 seconds. That's why you press. A little less time to attack on offense. You've got now about 20 seconds, 25 to go versus a full 30. So here's the ball screen they talked about. They're doing it against man and zone.
Now the Monarchs have to go. Mosley will hoist. And the air ball is out of bounds, so it's a 7-0 run by the Roadrunners, and they'll have it back with a chance to tie or take the lead.
Well, you see the effectiveness against his zone. I think Old Dominion and Jeff Jones, I know he'd like to see his players get that ball in the heart of the zone a little more. You've got to be effective. I like the ball screen against it, but getting guys in the seam, that high post area, very big, short corner area, very big. You know, see if they can get a chance. He's talking to his players now about where he wants them to be against the zone, but they've got to go in there, you know, relentlessly. You just can't be a perimeter-oriented team, and they'll figure it out, but when they do, that's an effective way to handle.
Christian Wilson controls for the Roadrunner. Sherman with a good give. We've got a tie game. Ryan Bowie with the score, the assist from the 7-footer.
Well, you got a timeout, and a very good timeout by Jeff Jones. He's going to really talk about 2 things. Number 1, he's going to talk about his zone attack, and 2, about getting inside and not giving up inside looks like he's just given up down the stretch of the game. He'd like this UTSA team to really take more perimeter shots. Good look inside.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fun game so far tonight here from San Antonio. We're tied for the first time since it was 15 apiece. Old Dominion led by 10 this half, but the Roadrunners on a nice run.
Well, they sure have been. Give credit to UTSA by coming back and just staying with it. Their demeanor has really been such that they've stayed with it. Their confidence level has been high. A lot of teams get upset when they get down, but they've really maintained their composure.
See if the Roadrunners can get a stop. We're inside 10 minutes to play.
Well, back to the zone. Let's see if they can get that ball in their, in their seam. They're trying to get some ball screens, attack up top.
They'll skip to Freeman. Freeman got up in the air with no place to go. He still almost got an assist, and Arledge the tip in.
Great look, but a great follow by Arledge. They missed Arledge, that's for sure, Brett. They really missed him.
Wilson has time to dial up a three, and the Roadrunners have taken the lead.
That's a huge basket by Christian Wilson. What a great look. Very confidently knocks it down. And, he's a player that got that start, and he's making the most of it, Brett. As I mentioned, you got players in college level. They just want an opportunity. When they get one, they're gonna make the most use of it.
First lead for UTSA since it was 9-7. Freeman double team, well defended. He'll step out from long range and bury another one.
That's a really big shot for the Monarchs. Again, counting on the outside shot to see if they're going to try to get the ball into that high post, into the seam of the defense. But when you got a guy like Freeman, you got to give him the green light. He's somebody who can really make the pay.
Lewis tried to get the step. Bowie again, and he's having a big game.
He sure is. He's Johnny on the spot, but he's there and puts it back. And now again, it's up to ODU to attack that zone and see if, well, looks like UTSA back to man. Interesting call here. See if they're going to isolate, try to bring Sherman back out. That's something they've really talked about doing, bringing him out on ball screens. Okay.
Hey, Coach, well, he says you're going to leave me open. I'll knock one in, and he scored 9 points for the Monarchs.
But he's a tough shooter, and you don't want to leave him open, but they do a good job of finding their guys.
Quick shot this time, but another one from Christian Wilson. Back-to-back triple.
Well, Jeff Jones is trying to figure out where did this young man come from. But, when you haven't been playing a lot of minutes and suddenly you show up, you're not really on a lot of the scouting reports. You get in the game. And, Brett, he's taking advantage of his opportunities. And, I always admire players that when they get an opportunity, they make the most of it. And I don't know if that's just making baskets, but being ready to play, whether it's defensively, distributing, getting rebounds. In this case, though, what a great sign for your player that gets his nod and his start.
We'll step aside. Great ball game here at the Convocation Center. It's the Roadrunners up by 1. The Roadrunners, once down 10, now up by a point. In fact, they made 3 straight three-pointers to take this lead, including a couple of big hits from Christian Wilson.
Well, big performance by Christian Wilson. And as I mentioned, just the ability to come in here, be ready. You know, so many times you can get your number called as a player, Brendan, and you're not ready. You think you're ready, but, you know, you've got to get yourself psychologically and physically ready to play. Okay. Darren George just explained that, Brett. So
it was a 30. We weren't supposed to take the extended break, but that will be our media time.
That's fine with me and fine for the players. I think fine for our viewers. More basketball, quicker.
Arms crossed for Jeff Jones. His team had a 10-point lead, but now with the basketball down by a point.
Well, he didn't think things were going to be easy here, and he mentioned that to us today at shoot-around. He knew his team was going to have to play because this UTSA team is playing really as well as anybody. They're playing good basketball. Went on the road, swept down in Florida, something very few teams are doing, getting sweeps. So he knows his team's got to perform now against a team that's playing very good basketball.
He also knows these next 3 weeks, huge for so many teams, but also the conference as they beat up on each other towards the tournament.
Well, that's what happens in conference play. It's relentless. You've got to be ready to play. There's no sign for the faint of heart here.
Arledge with the pump fake, the left-hander with some elevation. 15 points for the senior who averages 8.5.
And that's what Jeff Jones wants him to do, Brett. He's talked about how important it is for him not just to settle for outside shots, but he has the ability to go inside, and try to make some things happen.
Sherman moving all over the place, kept his pivot foot, and the ball back in the hands of the freshman from Baton Rouge, Wilson. Lewis hasn't had quite as many shots as normal, but he'll hit that one.
Well, how about his confidence level? He takes a shot, just a big shot. What does he do? Knocks it down with no fear, no trepidation. You know, you can always tell seniors, Brett, they play with such poise and confidence. It's amazing. I wish you could just let freshmen see clips of veteran players and how they just keep their demeanor the same. You don't know if they're up or down. Keep the cameras on them. You don't know if they're trailing or they're winning.
And it's been this trio of seniors that has led this resurgence for this UTSA team. Last year, they won just 8 games all year. Already 12 wins, bettering their conference output.
No question. And Brooks talked about also the importance of those guys. You know, it's their team. They've got to manage their team. They've got to get their team going. They've got to get them going in huddle and practice on the floor. And he waits for his players to do that. I really admire that. All good coaches, I think, really do that for their teams.
Arledge, did he lean in? Yes, he did. And that'll be foul number 4 right in front of Coach Jones.
Well, Jeff Jones does not like that call. I don't know if we're going to have a chance to take a look at it, but, you know, a little bit of accentuation at the end of that play. But really, it's not important what the player on the defensive end does. It's more important what the offensive player does. Let's see if he leans in that shoulder. They didn't call the first one, and now it's a delayed call. I think probably the right call, Brett, but delayed. That's what Jeff Jones didn't like, is that he waited for the effect of the flop to get the call, but he did initiate contact.
You think he'll sold that just a bit?
Well, a little bit.
That ball's going to belong back to the Monarchs.
And the same official was happy to make that call going back the other way, and that oftentimes happens. And Jeff Jones now can say, you know what, we at least got the ball back. But he does get the foul back, and that's the pain involved in that. You don't get those fouls back. You can get a reverse call, but that foul is there to stay.
And Arledge had to sit with his 15 points.
Yeah, absolutely. He was just making the mark of this game. That's a big loss for Old Dominion.
Freeman on the push, the step back, trying a tough entry pass. And the Roadrunners trying to do just that. On the move, and Lewis hit the deck hard in the traveling as he slipped and maybe hit his head. And let's hope he's okay, because already Gino Little's out of this game with a concussion, and that was a scary play for the senior Lewis.
Well, that's tough. He lost his footing on the floor, and I think he was about to get to the basket right there. When Keon Lewis goes down, he was really about to make a play, but feet gave out. Looks like there's moisture on the floor, and that's tough. I always wonder why that doesn't happen more. You really got to pay attention to that, and that's why you know the guys that are out there cleaning after every play, they've got to really do a thorough job, because you don't want to see a player go down, as you mentioned, and get injured. But Keon Lewis, tough kid, and he's back in the game and ready to go.
Took a knee to the head, but he stays in. Monarchs the basketball, UTSA the lead.
Well, UTSA back now to the man-to-man. think content to guard. Without Arledge in the game, they feel a little more confident to guard in their man-to-man.
Freeman coming off the screen, tough shot, elevates and scores, and we are tied again.
Well, you got to love what Trey Freeman can do for his team. They're just so confident about getting the ball in his hands. They're patient. They don't give it to him early in the clock, which I really like. And Jeff Jones talked about that. They're going to find ways to get it to him late in the clock. You have a live dribble right on the clock. You don't have a live dribble when your best player's got the ball in his hands and bouncing it and he's pounding the ball. You don't have a chance to be a triple threat player, Brett. So I like that strategy very much.
Wilson gets into the lane, contested shot. Hill runs down the rebound, muscles up, scores, and a chance for one more.
Well, you can see now how much they miss Arledge on the defensive glass. That's a play where Jonathan Arledge goes up, leads their team in rebounds, goes up and grabs rebounds, but with his absence, they're really struggling to secure defensive rebounds. That was a tough shot. That should have been a rebound, but really nobody there with some size and the ability to go up and secure that ball. They kind of looked at each other.
11 for Jeremy Hill.
Huge basket and huge putback.
It's the largest lead enjoyed by the Roadrunners of 3 points. You see they've been to the line a lot.
Well, that's very big on this game, is finding ways, again, as I mentioned, get to the foul line. You've got the size advantage. Take advantage of that. Don't be content to knock down or try to knock down just perimeter shots.
And the Monarchs, they've made their last 5 field goals. See if they can get another. The junior Bako was blocked, but he got his rebound. Shot clock doesn't reset. As the shot clock expires, Mosley hits the triple from the corner.
What a huge basket. I thought, he misses that shot. Now UTSA comes back the other way, maybe extends that lead, but he gets his own shot, finds a player that's already knocked down a couple of threes, and what a great look over to find Mosley on that play.
Talked about ODU and their resume earlier. A team right now that the bracketologists, I love that term, they have the Monarchs in as maybe even an 11 seed. Let's take a look at the RPIs from the Conference USA top team.
Well, Old Dominion at 41 is a pretty sure thing. With they can't afford a lot of slip-ups. They may be able to get a game, one game here or there and drop 1 or 2 games, but you can't have a major slip-up. Your RPI will take you only so far. You've also got to maintain some momentum. You can't be going into the tournament not winning most of the rest of your game until the last 10 games. The committee looks at that, for example. But certainly 41 is good enough. And then the next one would be Louisiana Tech. Do you get in at 70? You're right on the bubble at 70. Mike White's team's playing awfully well, but they've got to put some wins together for them to be in a that large team.
Of course, ODU will go to UTEP this weekend, so that'll be a huge game. They want to make sure they take care of business tonight, but even at 62 and just back after the 30-second timeout, we'll step aside. Fun ball game going on here at the Convocation Center in San Antonio.
Well, there you go. Look at him staying with it. Mosley on the kickback out to Mosley. A 3-point shot. Very heads-up play. Jeff Jones calling timeout. Great way to get back in the game.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Conference USA celebrates 20 years.
And each CUSA member has a history of greats.
Louisiana Tech has Carl Malone. Ricky Pierce is from Rice.
UTEP is proud to claim Tim Hardaway.
Hal Greer is from Marshall.
Cedric Maxwell is from Charlotte.
Together, we are the next 20 years.
The next generation of Conference USA.
Don't miss 1 minute of Who's Next.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified.
It's in those moments that champions are born.
Ball game tied at 62 between the Monarchs and the Roadrunners. And Ben, when we set up this game, the storyline, we talked about the bigs of UTSA, but in the second half, it's been their three-point shooting.
Well, there's no doubt. Look at the ability to knock down these shots. And Christian, coming off and starting and knocking those big shots down. Not bashful, and really doing a great job. Christian Wilson knocking those shots down, but Ryan Bowie and Keon Lewis also. I said why I was so excited about this game. Now you know. These teams are going at each other. Great basketball game. I know Jeff Jones right about now is probably thinking, hey, I got to find another way just to count on not just Freeman making shots, but his team has only been to the line, Brett, 3 times. And that's not a great stat for your team. You've got to get there more. You want to be in the bonus. He's got some guys that can knock down shots. But really the advantage right here is going to UTSA. They're getting the line. They're accumulating points. Bonus situation. Old Dominion's got to find a way to get some easier scores, and going to the line is one way to do it. There you go. There's what he'd like to see, is drawing a few more fouls. And if you can do that, that makes a difference. But they've got to get those free throws back up. Brooks Thompson applauding his team. I think I knew what that applaud was. And okay, you had to call that foul.
That smile was. It's just 3 team fouls on UTSA, 10 for ODU.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a credit to the aggressiveness, really. Usually fouls are a credit to the aggressiveness. And against this coverage, you got to find ways to get inside, get in there. But when you have a Trey Freeman, there's your exception to that rule. Give him the green light, and he'll make the most of it.
How about the shooter's roll for Freeman? He's got 19. Lewis pushing the issue, blocked for the foul.
Well, there's the advantage, and Keon Lewis knows exactly what to do. How many times in his career has he found himself in this position, Brett, to get to the line? He's got his team, the game on the line, and he finds ways to get to the line, take his 80% shooting, and hopefully have it pay off for his team. Love his mindset right now.
The senior from Seattle has scored 17 points. We talked about all of his free throw makes. Top 15 in the nation, just so comfortable at the line.
Well, he knows what he's doing. He's worked. When players work hard to get there, you can't let teams off the hook. And so many players need to realize that. You work hard to get there, get out there and knock these shots down and make teams pay.
Quite a disparity in the free throws, as you see on the screen. 19 for Keon Lewis, and the Roadrunner fans enjoying this one. Their team back up a point as we near the 3-minute mark in Conference USA action.
Well, this game may go down to whoever's got the ball last.
11 lead changes already. But keep in mind, Freeman has 4 fouls. Arledge, still seated, has 4 fouls.
Now they're going to see how long they're going to keep him on the bench. I think with the game tight, they'll keep him there as long as they can. But game gets away from him a little bit. He's got to come back in the game as soon as possible.
Freeman got rid of the basketball. Let's see if he gets it back.
Well, he'll get it back.
There he is. Shot clock at 3. He's going to go. Freeman up, under, throws it up to the rim, wouldn't go, and nearly a tip in.
That's with the left hand. That was an incredible release. But the UTSA on the glass. And not giving up offensive rebounds. It's a good time now to right that wrong.
This would be a huge game for the Roadrunners. They've won 2 straight, above 500 in conference play. Trying to knock off ODU here today, and there's a whistle going against Aaron Baycott.
Brett, they've put themselves in a position really to win this game, and they've done it by going inside to their big guys. They've done it by getting to the foul line. And if they can secure offensive or defensive rebounds, not give up offensive rebounds, that's one way also they can put themselves in a position to win this game.
15 big points tonight for Ryan Bowie, the Texas native, the transfer from Iowa Western.
Well, this was always a concern when we played, and I coached against this team, is finding ways not to put this team on the line. They were trying to get in the paint, make the foul, and you had to find ways to keep them on the perimeter, but easier said than done.
Possessions become precious now for ODU, down 3.
Well, I like the press because it takes time off, and now, as you say, when you're pressing, you limit time and possession. You don't have enough possessions to come back.
Ross left alone, lays one in. It's a 1-point game.
What a great look by Denzel Taylor. I really like his ability to face up and go inside. That's a great look by Denzel. He's very comfortable on the perimeter, and he goes right inside, and I really like that high-low. Very tough to defend against, Brett, when you've got the ball in the middle of the floor. They're just, everybody's one pass away, so you can't cheat, you can't get off your man, you got to locate him, and UTSA lost sight of their man on that play, and ODU made him pay the price.
You see the ties and the lead changes. Old Dominion's 10-point lead came in the second half. Now it's UTSA by a point. Jonathan Arledge back in the game with 4 fouls. Trey Freeman playing with 4 fouls. Disparity in the game then 20-5 for the foul.
Exactly, but Jeff Jones has talked about this. He's not a zone coach. He's a man-to-man guy, and so you got to go with what got you here. And when your defense is #1 in the league, you're not going to change a lot. But sometimes you wonder, hey, will a zone maybe keep your best guy out of foul trouble? Sometimes it's good. Maybe you can just play your sagging man-to-man, which is very similar to a zone. But they got to find ways to keep UTSA off the foul line. So sagging man in zone, one way to do it. But if they play aggressively on the ball, it gives UTSA an advantage to get to that foul line again. And the ball now is in Keon Lewis's hands, as it should be.
Lewis on a push to the basket, holds it on his hip, throws it up and in again.
Well, they allow him to go to his right, and he's so much better going right. Not that he can't go left, but most players really feed off that right hand. Not only does he try to draw a foul, but he finishes the score.
21 points for Keon Lewis. No margin for error. Arledge can step out, hit from long range. Not this time. And the rebound is off Hill and UTSA. Zelton Steed was right there. He got a look from Hill, but he said it'll belong to the Monarchs.
Well, I think that's the right call, but remember, last 2 minutes, but you can go to the monitors and you can review this. So they're going to do that right now, I believe. Brooks Thompson asking for the review, and why not? It's a free look. From our vantage point, it looked like they had the call right, but you've got to go to the monitors because you never know down the stretch of the game. That possession's just too big not to look at it.
Well, we're going to have to see this one again. It almost looked in real time. It was off Hill, but I can't tell from this angle if it grazed his left arm on the way by or his jersey. There looked like there was a little bit of movement, but I don't know how you tell.
Well, it looked like that might have been ODU on that play. Red, look at it again. Yeah, that's, well, no, it went off.
See, there's a little change of direction there.
Now, that went off of Hill's uniform. Once again, the officials doing a great job. Boy, they have a tough job. Just imagine this game, or these games, when the monitors weren't in effect. They only had 2 officials calling it. Then they had 3 with no replays. I really give the game credit, and the rule changes are being able to use that monitor for the last 2 minutes. That's fitting. You don't want a player, the team to be penalized.
What do you look for here if you're the Monarchs?
Well, I think you've got to now get the ball in Freeman's hands. They're going back to the zone. So he's going to have to be clever against the zone, the high post area.
Arledge didn't walk, but he turned the basketball over.
Well, that's where you want the ball, Brett. That was exactly where Jeff Jones wanted the ball, and you got to square up and make a play. Now, a good timeout, very good timeout by Brooks Thompson. He wants to leave no doubt, and I think sometimes you get excited when you're up, but you can't, it's not that you don't trust your players, but you have to remind them, you've got the ball, you've got the lead. They must foul us or let the possession go all the way down. So either way, you're in great shape. If the possession clock goes down, that limits, the amount of time that ODU has a chance to come back. If they choose to quick foul, you're getting a chance to go to the line and shoot 2 shots.
Let's talk about the significance of this game, Ben. We started looking at the conference standings, and right now, UTSA above 500, but 6th in the league. If you finish top 4, you get a bye for the Conference USA tournament.
And I mentioned that in the opening of our game, Brett, and that's precisely what Brooks Thompson has talked to his team about. He's not been bashful about saying, guys, let's shoot for the stars, let's shoot for the moon. We're in a position to climb into the top 4, and why not take a bye in the first round? That puts you in a position to go for a tournament.
This was a team that won just 8 games last year. Nearly a stumble. Did he get the timeout? No, you can't do that.
I think that's the right call.
I do too. Right in front of us.
And boy, did those officials get it. You have to have possession to call the timeout. And again, even after the timeout, UTSA doesn't secure the ball. getting the ball in, Brent, is as important as anything in this game, and getting the ball controlled every bit as important.
The way UTSA has shot free throws, do you consider a 3 rather than a quick 2?
I don't know. We'll see, but I think they're going to get the best shot that avails itself.
Trey Freeman off the screen. Another turnover by Arledge, but then Keon Lewis stepped out of bounds. So the shot clock shut off. 24.5 to play.
Well, Arledge got himself in the air for the second straight time, and I admire his ability to try to make a play for his team, but you've got to maintain contact on the floor. Very fortunate they're getting this ball back now. Brett, you might look at that 3, but we'll see. I still think there's time to get a 2 and come down and either get a foul or a steal, but they've got to get the best shot you can get. But they don't have a lot of time, that's for sure. Surprised they're not going to look at this one, too. I'm Brooks Thompson. I might ask to look at the monitor one more time. Why not?
Keon Lewis took a seat courtside, but it'll be Monarchs ball, 24.5 to shoot. Really, Lewis has been the story today. 21 points. Fantastic game. The 6th time this year he's been in 20 or more, because Jeremy Hill and Kai Bjorn Sherman, who've been the big producers in recent weeks, have been a little quiet. They've been defended well by ODU.
Well, that's the challenge of defending this UTSA team. Just when you think you've got their top players and top scorers defended, you know, it's not too shabby when you can have a Keon Lewis there to make key plays for your team. He's been doing that for his whole career. Let's look right now, Brett. I really think that ODU has to get the ball to the basket, and they'll take a 3 if they can get one, but it's still a 2-possession game. Either way, whether they score and get the 3 or they score and get the 2, they still got to go down to the defensive end and find a way to get a stop. So look for Jeff Jones' team to play. Interesting to see if UTSA zones or goes man.
Need to identify Trey Freeman.
Well, you know the ball's somehow going to get in his hands, and they're going to play right now. Here he is. Immediately, ball in his hands. Look for a couple of plays coming up. A ball screen.
Arledge, not bashful, throws up the 3. No go. The tip won't foul. And the Monarchs still have it. And that's a whistle going against UTSA and Ryan Bowie with 12 seconds left.
Give Old Dominion credit for keeping that ball alive. The shot went down.
Then as we see this replay, there's still just 4 fouls on UTSA. How much do you use that as a weapon?
Absolutely. You foul every time. Don't give them a good look. Just try not to foul in the act of shooting.
There's an open look from the corner. Another one that won't hit. Who's it off? The officials look at each other. They say Roadrunner ball. That split second of indecision, the officials looked at each other. Now they're going to go to the monitor because they weren't sure.
They should. And you know, Jeff Jones right there got a look he wanted, a wide open 3. I was a little surprised UTSA did not foul. As you mentioned, take some of that time. They got 2-3 fouls to give, and pretty soon there's no time left. What's your call, Brett? You think he hits it?
Roadrunner ball. That looks like it's off Baycoats. Looks like he got the palm on it. We'll see it again from this angle.
Remember the rule, it's got to be definitive evidence to overturn a call. So that's a key definition. It can't just be speculated. It's got to be something that's very clear-cut evidence.
Now right here, it looks like Bayco touches it, but watch his reaction if we can play this shot through. Immediately. What do? You start pointing at Keon Lewis. He's going to say, one off him.
Well, that's good theatrics, but I don't think that theatrics have anything to do with monitors and replays. You know, you can plead all you want. You've got confirmed proof right now.
Now the bigger issue, because UTSA has been in the double bonus for a bulk of this second half, if they get fouled, go to the line and make just 1 free throw, this game's probably over.
It probably is, but you've got to foul right away or take a chance at least. You know, you take a chance at trying to get a 5 count and a foul or a turnover. They'll much rather do that, but you can't throw it away right here. Anything but a turnover.
Wilson trying to run out the time, fouled with 4.1.
Well, that's a great inbounds play, and really any combination of a score right here should really cement a victory or put UTSA in position to get this victory. You never say anything's over, but this is a crucial set of free throws coming up.
Just a 54% free throw shooter. Deathly quiet in this building as he hits.
Well, now it's definitely two possession, and I don't know, Brett, with 4.1 seconds to go, if you have enough time for two possessions. I just don't.
This Roadrunners team last year in conference play, 4-12 in their first year in CUSA. They've been bouncing around leagues in recent years. This their second year in Conference USA. They're about to win their 7th game in league play.
Huge win for Brooks Thompson. I can't tell you the importance of this win for his team. What a great performance by his team. And you can see in the looks of their eyes how happy they are. And you feel for Jeff Jones because he had a 10-point lead and got his major player in foul trouble. But that's part of the game, and that's why you play. But great win for UTSA and the Roadrunners.
So down 10 in the second half. The Roadrunners rally for a 72-67 victory. And Brooks Thompson not showing the emotion just yet, but it has been an important victory for his program as Jeff Jones will head to UTEP for another stiff game coming up on Saturday night in El Paso. So the Roadrunners able to get it done today. Keon Lewis had 21 points. Part of this effort. Coach Brooks Thompson ready to join us here courtside. Coach, congratulations. What does this victory mean for you tonight in your program?
Well, it's huge. There's no doubt about it. Old Dominion is a phenomenal basketball team who's very well coached. They're very efficient in their offense, and then they really guard you well. So for our program, obviously, it's a great win. But, we've won 5 of our last 7. Our kids are playing good. They believe in our university and what we're doing as coaching staff. And it's a lot of fun right now, but we got to keep our grind on.
How did you get your guys back, Brooks, from a 10-point deficit, as you say, against a well-coached team that's been playing great basketball? It's a great comeback for your team.
It is. It's not about me. It's not about coaching. It's about these players, and all we can do is choreograph and do whatever we can with them. But we made some simple adjustments. But the guys that wear that orange and white and blue for us, they just fight and they do what they're asked to do.
Glad they made you look good. Christian Wilson comes in. You put him in the starting lineup. All he does is knock down 2 huge threes and plays really with some confidence. Great to see that.
Well, he's a very talented young man. There's no doubt about that. And, he's growing every single day, not only as a person but as a player, and he's going to be a great player for us.
Does that mean we're going to see the beard for at least a few more?
Well, at least one more. You can at least till Saturday, and hopefully I can keep it throughout next week till next Thursday. But I know it's ugly, but hey, I believe in our guys.
Nothing about winning that's ugly.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
You can win ugly, but it sure feels good to win ugly instead of lose ugly. No doubt about that, Coach.
Coach, final thoughts. Your seniors have been so important to you this year, your trio. Today it was Keon Lewis who stepped up a huge second half.
Well, he was huge. Our front court of Kai and Jeremy and the other 2 seniors have really stepped up and done a great job for us. But as we talked about, Keon, he was a floor general. He had to play most of the game at the 1. And that's actually what we recruited him to be until, we got in here and got Gino Littles going, and unfortunately he was hurt, but he did a heck of a job.
Final question for your fans and for viewers. Will Littles be able to come back on this short turnaround for Saturday or not?
We're thinking so. We're thinking he's responding well, and we're hoping so, But, every time great teams, when somebody goes down and gets injured, somebody else steps up. And we had a bunch of guys step up for us, but we are hoping to get Gino back.
Well, keep things going. Great effort for your team today, Brooks.
Congratulations, Coach.
You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
72-67, a final.
Good, man.
UTSA with the win. That'll do it from San Antonio. Roadrunners get the victory down 10 in the second half. They win by 5. Our next telecast on ASN is this Saturday night, a doubleheader. First at 5:30, Western Kentucky's at Marshall. That's followed at 8 p.m. as Middle Tennessee travels to North Texas. For Ben Braun and the entire crew, I'm Brett Dolan saying good night from San Antonio. You've got 5 conference losses. Oh, it did.